Math 1030, section 11.2, the quadratic formula. So we've talked about some different ways to solve quadratic equations. Now the quadratic formula is a large complex formula that works every single time if there is a solution. So again, we're using the general form ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. X equals negative b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a, where a, b, and c are the coefficients in the equation. So long as it is equal to 0, we can use this formula. Let's try an example. 8x squared plus 2x minus 1 equals 0. Now, maybe you try to factor something like this, which is smart because it's the fastest, easiest way. But if you're really struggling to factor, you can always use the formula. X equals negative 2 plus or minus square root 2 squared minus 4 times 8 times negative 1 all over 2a. Follow order of operations, take your time. 4 minus minus is plus 32 over 16. Negative 2 plus or minus square root of 36 over 16, which is negative 2 plus or minus 6 over 16. Now notice that we have the plus minus built into the formula. What we do at this point is create two different problems. We create a positive case and a negative case. X equals negative 2 plus 6 over 16. X equals negative 2 minus 6 over 16. This becomes 4 over 16, which is 1/4. This is negative 8 over 16, which is negative 1/2. And those are the two solutions to the equation. Let's try another one. 2x squared equals 4x plus 1. Now, we're not allowed to use the formula just yet because it's not in the right format. Move everything to the same side. It doesn't matter which side, you'll get the same answer either way. Now that it's in the proper format, I can use the formula. This is a formula you'll need to have memorized for the exam. You'll learn it pretty quickly. You'll use it pretty often on the homework. Negative of negative 4 plus or minus square root of negative 4 squared minus 4 times 2 times negative 1 over 2 times 2. Negative negative is 4 plus or minus square root. Be very careful right here. I've said it many times before in this course. What I see is students do this on the calculator. And it says it's negative, but it's not. It's the quantity of negative 4 squared, which is negative 4 times negative 4, which is positive 16. Minus minus is plus 8 over 4, which is 4 plus or minus square root of 24 over 4. Now we can't take the square root of 24 evenly, but what we can do is simplify the radical. We can say 24 is 4 times 6, square root of 4 is 2, square root of 6. Again, this is numerical. Check it on your calculator if you want to. These are the same thing. Now this is okay. We can simplify this a little bit because everything divides by 2. Divide the top and bottom by 2. 2 plus or minus square root of 6 over 2. And you can leave this like that as your solution. Okay, what's next? 9x squared equals 12x minus 4. Just like the others, get everything on one side. 9x squared minus 12x plus 4 equals 0. Then you're good to go on the formula. All right, that's positive 12 plus or minus square root 144 minus, what is that, 9 times 16, which is 144. Now notice what happens. 144 minus 144 is 12 plus or minus square root of 0 over 18. Square root of 0 is 0. 12 plus or minus 0 is 12 over 18, which simplifies to 2/3. Now notice there's only one solution in this case, and that can happen sometimes. You haven't done anything wrong. The only solution is 2/3. Okay, let's look at this. X squared plus 7x plus 4. Now, if you attempted to factor this, you would say what multiplies to make 4 and adds to make 7, but nothing does. That doesn't mean it can't be solved, it just means it can't be solved by factoring. Let's try the formula here. X equals -7 plus or minus square root 7 squared minus 4 times 1 times 4 over 2 times 1 -7 plus or minus square root of 49 minus 16 over 2. Is that right? Yeah, 33. Can't take the square root of 33, cannot simplify the radical of 33. We're done with the problem here. Okay, try out the practice problems on your own and then check the solutions. Let's see what we have. X squared plus 8x plus 12 equals 0. In the right format, use the formula. -8 plus or minus square root of 64 minus 48 over 2, which is what? 16. That works out nicely. Square root of 16 is 4. Now that we're here, go ahead and write your plus and minus cases. X equals -8 plus 4 over 2. X equals -8 minus 4 over 2. -8 plus 4 is -4 over 2, which is -2. -12 over 2 is -6. There are two solutions. Now, an interesting thing about the quadratic formula is that if you have x equals -2, x equals -6, that means x plus 2 and x plus 6 are factors. And then if you multiplied this out, you'd actually get the original thing. It would check your answers for you. All right, let's try this. 6x squared equals 2x plus 1. Well, it's not in the right format. Move everything to the other side. X equals -b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Negative of -2 plus or minus square root of -2 squared minus 4 times 6 times -1. 4 times 6, -1. 2 plus or minus 4 plus 24 over 12. 2 plus or minus square root of 28 over 12. Now we can't take the square root of 28 evenly, but again, we can reduce that. That's 4 times 7, which is 2 square root of 7. 2 plus or minus 2 square root of 7 over 12. And then we can divide the top and the bottom by 2, making 1 plus or minus square root of 7 over 6. And that's as simplified as that's going to get. All right. Let's try one more example. 4x squared equals 20x minus 25. Now, just like you saw in the previous problem, what we're going to need to do is move everything onto one side. Four x squared minus 20x plus 25 equals 0. And run the formula. Negative of negative 20 plus or minus negative 20 squared minus 4 times 25 over 2 times 4. 20 plus or minus square root of 400 minus 400 over 8. 20 plus or minus square root of 0 over 8, which is 20 over 8, which is 5 halves. And there's only one solution this time. Now, the only other topic we have to look at in this section is the discriminant, okay? What the discriminant does is it tells you how many solutions the equation has before you even get started. Now, the discriminant's not completely new. It's b squared minus 4ac, which is the same part we've been using in the quadratic formula. If the discriminant is positive, there's 2 solutions. If the discriminant is 0, there's 1 solution. If the discriminant is negative, there are no real solutions. So, all we have to do is quickly determine how many solutions it has. So if I have 3x squared plus 4x minus 5 equals 0, the discriminant is b squared minus 4ac. 4 squared minus 4 times 3 times negative 5, which is 16 plus something else. Now, I don't know what that is, but I know 16 plus another positive is positive, which means there are 2 solutions. Nine x squared minus 6x plus 1. Again, we're going to use b squared minus 4ac. Watch your signs. This is negative 6 squared minus 4 times 9 times 1, which is 36, minus 36, which is 0, which means 1 solution. In the next example, 3x squared minus 8x plus 7 equals 0. b squared minus 4ac is negative 8 squared minus 4 times 3 times 7. 64 minus 12 times 7 is 84, which is negative, which means no real solutions. Or you can just say no solution also works. Try out the practice problems. They'll work the same way. X squared plus 6x plus 9 equals 0. B squared minus 4ac. 6 squared minus 4 times 1 times 9. 36 minus 36 is 0. 1 solution. What happens sometimes is students get 0 and they say 0 solutions, which is not true. There's only one answer here. 2x squared minus 7x minus 4 equals 0. B squared minus 4ac. -7 squared minus 4 times 2 times -4, 49 minus 32 is positive, so there's two real solutions. Finally, in the last example, we have 3x squared minus 2x plus 4 equals 0. B squared minus 4ac, -2 squared minus 4 times 3 times 4. 4 minus 48 is negative. No real solutions.